Making sure clients are engaged and loving us is one of the absolute keys to being able to grow a sustainable, profitable, scalable health and medical business. Let's get stuck in right now to make sure none of your clients lose that love and feeling. Let me just say up front, very clearly, it's a bit of a play in regards to one of the greatest movies of all time, 1986, Top Gun. Whether you love Tom Cruise or hate him, it was one hell of a movie. And there's a very important part early in that video where Maverick, Mr. Tom Cruise, turns around and says to his wingman, Goose, and he turned around and goes, I think, Goose, she's lost that loving feeling. And Goose replies with, I hate it when she does that. And as a net result comes that famous little piece in regards to where they sing and they, if you don't know what I'm talking about right here, then first of all, we probably aren't friends. And secondly, you need to go and check it out. And they break out into a nice rendition and it's fantastic. Many men's drunken nights and bucks parties have emulated and replicated that over and over again, myself included. So here's the thing. We want to make sure that no one, male or female, loses that love and feeling. Okay, I won't start singing. But here's the big challenge with health and medical businesses. We need to make sure that retention of our clients is the absolute number one thing that we're working on at all times. Simply put, you're going to buy, ultimately, new clients, new referrals, attract more leads, all the sales and marketing. It doesn't matter how you phrase it or what you put in and around that subject line. The fact of the matter is you buy clients, you buy new clients, you buy new patients. So it's all about money, right? And revenues and expenses. Well, if you're going to buy a client once, you might as well see them more than one or two times, and you might as well help them out as much as possible. And just because someone comes to you because they've got lower back pain and they're being referred to you doesn't mean you see them 3 times, because I guarantee there's underlying pathologies that you need to work on. How else can you help this client or patient? You might need to do biomechanical work. There might be strength and conditioning work. It might be to do with, orthotics. It might be complete different alignment issues. There might be weight loss that you need to work with over time. There's crazy amounts that we should be, but quite often don't do with these clients. And that ultimately is one of the biggest challenges with people not being able to build their health business. Number one, it must come down to retention. It must come down to maintaining that loving feeling for all of your clients. Now, we've all been in that situation before where a client has left. And let's be totally open about it. It hurts. None of us like to think that someone's cancelled because they don't like us or don't respect us or don't think we're doing a good job or whatever it is, right? But the premise is people will leave your business, your clinic. And at first it hurts. And we go through a bit of an emotional roller coaster. We get into that scenario where we go from maybe trying to save them, desperately trying to get on the phone and convince them to stay and that I can help and that this is what happened and why. And we make excuses. We sound desperate. Then it gets to often the situation where they've made up their decision to leave or not partake in your business or services, and you then might walk away from that conversation, switching from being sad and sort of desperate to, they weren't a good fit anyway. And we try and make up some BS, right? Some bullshit that it's about them, not us. It's always about them. They weren't a good fit. They weren't aligned to our values. They weren't aligned to our culture. They weren't, no. 99 times out of 100, when I hear that, with 1 or 2 quick questions, we can call bullshit on that. And it is simply a coping mechanism for that practitioner or business owner to try and make themselves feel better, right? Feel good, feel better as to why the client left, because we can't possibly not be a good fit for everyone, et cetera, et cetera. At the end of the day, what we should be doing is playing above the line, not making excuses and not blaming, instead taking ownership and responsibility for the fact that there's obviously underlying reasons and problems or concerns that they have that are completely valid that we need to know about and address. And that's the number one thing we need to be able to do with any of our cancellations is get into a situation when someone loses that loving feeling with our business, our team, whether it's yourself or a team member. We have to make sure we know why, what the real truth underlying reason is so that we can work on it and prevent that from happening in the future. Now, there's really only 3 reasons why a client or patient leaves a health or medical business. First of all, the elephant in the room is number 1, they have a negative experience. They have a negative experience based on the fact that they mightn't like what was said and done. Maybe they did something, the practitioner did something that hurt. Maybe their journey over the coming days or weeks wasn't mapped out well enough and it didn't really feel authentic. There could be numerous avenues or reasons why that is felt, but the first reason is that we have to look at is always, was there a negative experience involved? Did they have a bad experience and felt disrespected? Did they feel like the practitioner wasn't listening to them? It can be numbers of reasons why in there. So the first reason is obviously looking to make sure there wasn't a negative experience. And if there is, we need to have a better fundamental understanding of why, what happened, what was said. Was it a problem with the client or the practitioner, or maybe it was something that was said and done with the receptionist? Is there a negative experience with the way that they couldn't find the place, or it wasn't signposted? Did they fall over in the clinic? Did they spill milk and they're crying about the spilt milk? I don't know what it is, right? But the fact of the matter is one of the 3 reasons, and the first reason you've got to look at is, was there a negative experience in there for the client? And if there was, let's find out what it was and let's put the appropriate measures in place so it doesn't happen again. Let's get the right training in place or the right scripts. If there's something that's been said or done, we need to make up for it and be able to move forward. So number 1 is find out, was there a negative experience? Number 2, why someone might fall out of love with your team and business is based on the fact of a lack of perceived value. Now, this is a really interesting one because value is a measurement that differs for all of us. The value that you might want to get out of, working with myself as a practitioner may be completely different to someone else, and it will be. We all have our different levels of perceived value. So I think this comes down to a lot about making sure we're very clear about what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, and making sure we educate our clients before consults, before that, say, initial assessment, as to what's going to actually happen. Because fundamentally, people don't want to be left in the dark. People want to understand what's involved, what is going to happen, how long they're going to be there, whether they have to bring their scans, or we tell them where to park. We want to make it as streamlined as possible so that they feel like it's just natural and normal. And they want to also understand what's involved. So we need to be very clear when we first see clients that they actually know what we're doing. They know why we're assessing things. They understand the journey and the pathway. We need to make sure the emotional hook is in place when we first see them so that we understand the deep underlying emotional reason why they're trying to make this change. They're not just trying to get rid of back pain right now. They're actually wanting to be able to get down on the ground with their new 9-month-old grandchild and play with them, for instance, right? There's always an underlying emotional reason that we've got to find out. And so when we put the right pathway in place, we're going to complete model on the patient pathway and the pipeline that we actually take the clients through so they're very well aware of what we're doing, why we're doing things, what their journey is going to look like, what the finish line looks like. And that's all been reverse engineered, so they're very clear about that. That's when perceived benefit and the value that they're getting is always met with their expectations. Because now all of a sudden it feels good, it feels natural, they are really clear about the direction, it shows confidence in what you're doing and that you've got that authority and knowledge in place, and ultimately people feel value in that approach. So if it's not a negative experience, then it very well could be a lack of perceived value from the client, which didn't match the expectations of what they expected and wanted and what you delivered as a practitioner or clinic. And then the only third reason why someone may actually cancel and fall out of love lose that loving feeling, is because they don't feel a part of your family, tribe, community, team, etc. They don't feel loyalty. They don't feel like they belong. Now, since the beginning of time, we've always involved ourselves with tribes. I mean, you go back to cavemen and women. If you weren't in a tribe, you would die. Like you couldn't go out and hunt a woolly mammoth and bring it down and cut it up and cook it, and you can't. If you weren't in a tribe or a community, you couldn't do all of the functions to be able to live, and as a net result, you perished. And so people have always, as humans, we've always had this innate desire to be involved, to feel a part of something. And so if you don't have a very welcoming avenue of loyalty and make people feel like they're one of us, they're like, you're one of us, like you belong here, this is our family, our community, our team, etc., then people will naturally leave you, fall out of love with you, and will be searching for the loving feeling with someone else, aka your competitors. So the third reason is all about how you make them feel, all about the loyalty side of things. So are we actually doing enough in your business right now to actually get that loving feeling? Do they feel like they're part of the family when they walk in? You know, do they get greeted by name? What are the little nuances that make them feel like it's just like coming home from, you know, their job and sitting down with their kids and watching some telly on the lounge? How do we make them feel that it feels natural and comfortable and they like being there? All of those feelings are based in and around the loyalty side. Are they feeling like they're part of the furniture? And so we've got to look at that as well. So if it's not because they haven't had a negative experience or something wrong with the practitioner, and they did actually feel like there was a lot of value there, the third reason is they might just feel like they just don't feel like it's the right fit for them. Maybe there's something that someone else does that's a bit more in tune with them personally. All right. And so they're the three reasons why people may fall out of love with your business. And it's all comes down to retention. It comes down to loads of different avenues in place. It's part of the clinic conversion matrix that we have in and around retention and the 40 big things that you can be doing in your business. And some of them are really small, really simple, and really easy to work with. But there's some of the best ways to actually make sure there's massive value, there's full alignment, there's loyalty in place. People love being a part of everything that you and your business does. They feel valued, they get great outcomes, and as a net result, retention's in place, and your business is always going to grow and scale much quicker than just constantly trying to buy new clients. So there you go, guys. That's why people fall out of love with you. That's what you need to be able to work on in your business right now and make sure your retention's up. Fix all the leaking buckets that you've got, and you watch your business grow, soar beyond your beliefs of what you think is possible, and have massive amounts of impact to all of your clients. I'll talk to you again very soon. Hey guys, thank you very much for listening to another episode of the Profitable Practice Podcast. I would love nothing more than for you to be able to leave a review. I get so much joy out of listening and reading the amazing things that you guys say about this. So please subscribe to our channel, leave a review, and share it with your friends. Let's get some more fantastic information out there so all of us can grow the industry together. Cheers for now.